Hi, everybody. This is our first quarterly showcase. We wanted to kind of start this type of event because we have been, pretty much all of you have been connected with the OCL work in some way, and probably hear about some of the new features and some of the community work that's taking place, but we haven't had any forum to just kind of run through all of the major highlights of work that's been accomplished. And so we thought we tried a few different things, but quarterly I think is going to be a good cadence. And this is meant to be kind of open to anyone that's connected to the OCL community. And we'll run through some of the new features and that have been implemented and are now available, plus some of the kind of major kind of community efforts that are taking place. And please jump in with comments or questions, feedback. Any of that is more than welcome. We'll record these and make them available, and hopefully this is something that'll be useful to everybody. So let's see, we've got one more still joining, but are there any questions or comments from anybody before we jump into this? All right. So Joe, did you want to get the slides going, or do you want me to start that out?
Just got it going. You should be seeing your screen right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So just to give everybody a heads up of what's coming right now, we're going to start with some tools updates. As you might have seen in our roadmap, we've kind of divided a lot of our work into tools, services, and community. So we're going to do some specifically some tool showcases right now. And to kick us off, we've got Rafal to showcase some developments on OCL's Fire Core, and then I will do some demonstrations on some newly released features on OCL's term browser. And then Sunny will give us a peek at some of OCL's more beta capabilities that are more in progress, but might be available for testing soon. So Rafal, can I go ahead and hand it off to you?
Yes, thank you. So hi, everyone.
Joe?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, Rafal.
Yeah. All right. So over the last year, we've been working on providing a new improved fire service for OCL. It was first developed as a separate Java project based on the API library, and now it's being integrated with OCL API code. It's written entirely in Python and running on as a service. So this is at the moment we currently support 3 types of resources. If you go to Swagger right now, it's working on this address, but soon this will also be available under the Fire subdomain. And we have 3 resources. It's code systems, value sets, and concept maps. Yeah, we cover most of the operations, create, read, update, delete for those resources, as well as some custom Fire operations, like for code system, it's lookup and validate code. For a concept map, it's translate. For value set, is validate code and expand. All this is available under the global Fire namespace, as with the previous version of the Fire service for OCL, as well as we have it available under specific orgs or users. So you can also access the Fire resources under your org or user. So this is restricted to your namespace or the org namespace, and the way to work with this. So we started to collaboration with HL7, the creator of Fire, and we are working now towards providing HL7 terminology from their, which is currently hosted on their website, and we'll be importing that into OCL. And so this is an example of a code system that you can find in HL7. And basically the way to get that in the OCL is by posting the resource that you can get from the HL7 and posting it to the code system endpoint. It can be either global or your user or org namespace. In this case, I'm using the user, my user namespace, and the code system resource. So this is basically this resource. It contains.
Hi.
Yeah. Hi.
There's the OCL demo. I forgot before she didn't have it. It's all the.
Your mic is unmuted. Are you asking a question?
Who did this?
Okay, Mahima, I'm going to mute your mic. Please feel free to unmute yourself if you have any questions.
I have no idea. It's the.
Joe, you should be able to mute her, I think.
Yeah, got it, everyone. And please feel free to come off mute if you have questions or raise your hand or put in the chat. Thank you.
All right, thanks. So this code system contains 4 concepts, and let's just try to post this to OCL. In response, you get the exact what you just posted, and it also includes some additional items specific to OCL, like there is an extra identifier added for each code system that is for the OCL system, and there are also some additional fields. In particular, there are properties specific for OCL, concept class, data type, and inactive. And these are yeah. So this is what you get back. And if you actually go to OCL and list the resources you have, you will be able to see this code system as a representation in OCL, and so you basically see all the concepts you have. Another interesting part is the value set. So value sets correspond to collections in OCL, and let me just grab one value set. So this is a value set. It has the same name, action type, and it is composed of codes from the action type code system. So if I post it, I should be getting back response that it was created. And now when I fetch this value set, I can see that, so I'm fetching all value sets from my user. and it does include the compose statement. If you actually go to OCL and to collections, then you can see that it's been expanded, and you can see actual concepts that were included. And also when you open up references, you can see that it's referencing all concepts from the code system action type. And what happened also behind the scenes is that the value set was expanded, and there was an actual version provided for how to expand with default parameters for Fire. But also what you can do is fetch this expansion through Fire. So there's a specific operation, expand, action expand. You can also see this expansion in the Fire format and all the codes it contains, and it's also possible to create a new expansion. For example, if you want to, let's say, filter the results, so have a smaller expansion. So you would do and you would provide parameters. Say I would provide a filter, and this is all Fire. So I just want to have a filter and with the value create. So all concepts that contain create in code will be included in this expansion. I just post it here, and yeah, currently it's just one concept that matches the criteria. And if I go back to OCL, there is another expansion created, as you can see, and this one was created with the filter. And you can also view this. Sorry, this is not. Oh, this is correct. Okay. Yeah. So this covers concept, code systems, and value sets. We also have concept maps. I haven't prepared a good example for that, but the idea is basically the same. And so you post to call concept map endpoint, and what is created in OCL is the mappings within your source, within your code system. So this is something that you will find here. Yeah, any questions regarding the new Fire code and service?
Thanks, Rafael. I think it's interesting. I had not thought of using the expansion with filters that way, so that you could save different expansions for a version.
Yes, that's the idea.
Yeah.
And what we do with expansions is we actually save them on the server. So they are basically treated as you can browse them and search them easily. This is something's wrong here. It should be okay. So you have all the capabilities of searching an expansion or do pretty much everything that you would do with a normal with the head version of the system, of this resource.
But just to confirm that the latest expansion would be the default if someone accessed that.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So as you can see, this expansion is marked as default and it's the latest
Got
one.
it.
And you can always go and modify that, but it's automatically marked as default.
So there were different use cases for using selected expansion. They could be created and searched or accessed via the API. But if traditional OCL functions like collection building and sort of the OpenMRS use cases, they would be utilizing the default. So you'd have to remember to move back up to the comprehensive version expansion.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the backwards compatibility to make sure that the default path worked, and where there's an automatic expansion that is created and maintained behind the scenes was a big part of the approach here. That which is why you could use OCL for dictionary management and probably never need to learn anything about expansions. But when you're ready to, if you have a use case for it, you can start to get into it.
Oh, that's great. Thanks, Rafael.
All right, so that's all I wanted to show. Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks, Rafael. Great to see that progress, and especially for OCL to be standards compliant as a terminology service is pretty important, I would say. So great to be seeing that, and thank you for your demonstration. Next, I want to jump over to the term browser, and you should be seeing my term browser screen right now. Please let me know if you are not. I want to display one of our newer features that we've released recently, which is concept cloning. This is essentially the idea that maybe you have a question or you have a concept set where you want to make copies of the concepts because either you are needing to make changes in the names, in the descriptions, maybe you need to make some other changes. If you're just trying to change mappings, there's actually a different way to do that. But essentially, if you need to create a copy of one concept or even multiple concepts, then cloning is actually a great way to do that. So I've got this durations unit concept right now where I not only want this question, but I also want within it the all the different units within them, and I want to manage them myself. So I am going to clone these into my source that I already made for this demonstration. It brings up a window where you can, it kind of explains that we're going to clone these concepts, and it's also going to recursively go through some specified mappings. If you want to see what those mappings are, of course, it says answers or set members. You can actually open up the advanced settings if you want to get into the specifics. There's actually a good amount of customization you can do. For example, if you only want to go down maybe 1 or 2 levels, you can do that. But the default is going through all of them. So once you've set up your settings, you can actually preview what you're going to get in a couple of ways. You can either visualize it as kind of a list to see the list of concepts that it's going to create. And you can see here, it'll create these concepts and it'll create these mappings in your source. And you can also preview them in our visualization here in case that's a better way for you. So you can see how to go through all the concepts and what mappings will come with it and things like that. So once you've decided that, yes, this is the right concept for me to clone, then you will hit the add button. It will do a little bit of processing in the background. Something that's very helpful about this is that if you do have a concept in there that is the same as one of these duration units, let's just say you already had a custom concept for months or something in there, then OCL will actually be smart enough to skip it. So there is a specific way to do that, and I won't show that here, but Basically, if you have a same as concept that would be copied, OCL will know to, okay, well, you already have that. We don't need to make another copy of it. If you want to preview what goes into your collection, you can, or into your source, you can see that here. I'm actually just going to go straight to the source itself. So yeah, I have now made copies of these CL concepts. Important to note that these are now my concepts. These are not going to get any updates that CL makes. I have kind of taken them at a point in time, and I've now made them my own. You can see duration unit still has the same set of concepts and mappings here. I've still got the seconds, minutes, all of these units in here. So this is a great opportunity to now make some customizations that I need. But like I said, this is now my concept. I am now the manager and the owner of it. So another piece that I would like to show in here is that we can actually add mappings if we wanted to. So just for example, if I had a different concept, maybe I had created a decades concept or something like that, and I wanted to add it here as an association. When you hit that add mapping button, you can actually select a relationship type. You can select a source that you're mapping from, and then you'll be able to find the concept you're looking for. One slight downside of this is that these are for existing concepts only. I can't just create a concept out of thin air here, but I am able to make a, another Q&A mapping, maybe if it was to another SNOMED CT concept, and I don't have a good example here, so I'm just going to find a random concept and say, we're going to add this as a mapping. Let's not do SNOMED, actually. Let's do CL. So clinically, this isn't going to make a lot of sense, but I'm going to pick this medication history concept, and then I will hit save. And then we're going to see that that concept has now shown up in my Q&A list. And this will actually get me into the next demonstration, is that we've now quick added a mapping, but sometimes you also want to sort mappings. You want to see them in a specific order. So you can see here that we've got Q&A that's in a specific order, weeks, months, days. Maybe you want to be seeing it in a different order. Perhaps you want to be seeing, all right, let's put smallest to largest. We want to put seconds and then minutes and then so on. You can go through and sort your concepts, make sure that they are appearing in the way that you want them to. I'll go ahead, doesn't make any sense, but I'm going to throw medication history up here. And once you do that, OCL is saying, okay, great, you have sorted your concepts. We assume that the order that you're seeing here is the order that you're wanting to see. And so we're going to hit save, and OCL will now save that order of concepts. And there is a backend attribute that's specific to this sort weight that can be used in OpenMRS forms or whatever you would like to. So this is now the saved sort order for this set of concepts. Now, once again, there are ways to do this that don't always involve copying concepts. Cloning is a very useful feature, but I do want to be clear that it comes with pros and cons. So if you want to talk more about that later, we certainly can. But just wanted to show you that we can clone concepts, we can quickly add mappings, and then we can sort them in here. Any questions about that? I have a couple more UI demonstrations I want to do, but any questions or inputs? Andy, especially, I know I've kind of used your content in here and done some definite no-nos, but any thoughts about this?
That's good. I guess I had a couple of questions and one observation. I think it wasn't clear to me that the sort order when you cloned was persisted, because like for right now, the IDs certainly aren't created in a particular order. I don't think they're alphabetical. So I just wondered whether or not that was something that we whether that is done.
Let me look at that actually.
Cloned it.
I don't know if there was originally a sort weight, but I can say that if there was a sort weight, it did not get carried over from CL. That would actually be a good thing to check in, because the sort order should be carried over. But yeah, that's a good point to bring up.
Okay, thanks.
And I'm just noticing the clock. We're at the bottom of the hour and we still got plenty to go through. So I'm going to speed it up a little bit, actually. I'm going to come over here to CL. I just wanted to show that if you are wanting to take advantage of more advanced collection building. I know a lot of you in this group have used the OpenMRS Cascade or things like that. If you are wanting to take advantage of more advanced reference collection building, then I'm just going to show real quick that we actually have, oh, I'm sorry, I am doing the wrong thing. If you are adding to collection, then we actually have a new option where you can either keep this static reference toggle on and save, however many 30 or so individual references from this concept. Or if you turn this off, you can actually save a single reference that gets all of basically everything in this bacterial culture panel. This will help you keep up to date with any updates that are made from CL. I probably don't have a whole lot of time to get into it, but all I want to show here is that I've turned off that static reference toggle. Instead of a reference for every concept and mapping that's getting added to your collection, it all is actually summarized into this one reference, and you'll be able to reference things, or you'll be able to manage things more dynamically in your collection. So more on that to come later. Only other thing that I wanted to show is that we've released this new summary tab in any source or collection. Essentially, this gives you a brief look at what is in this source or collection. So you'll be able to see what kind of mappings are there, what kind of concept classes, what kind of data types are in here. You get to see, some summary numbers, some languages. There's a lot of information in here, and it's something definitely worth exploring. Of course, this is in beta, and we still have some UI work that we want to do. But yeah, that's all I wanted to show. Sunny, can I throw it over to you?
Thanks, Joe. Hi, everyone. Let me share my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
All right. So I guess I want to showcase a couple of things. Recently, we moved all of our environments from Django authentication to single sign-on using Keycloak, which is OpenID compliant. So that is the first thing. So this is OCL Online. And if I click on sign in, earlier you used to go to an OCL hosted custom username password page, but this is coming from single sign-on service of OCL. You can enter your username password just like you used to, and you say sign in. You have more options like register, which is same as sign up, and forgot password. If you click on register, you will see a standard form with your basic information, and the process is similar. It will send you a verification mail where you have to confirm or verify your email, and then you are good to go. But for this demo purposes, I'm just going to enter a user that I already created. Sign in. So now it will come back to Open Concept Lab, and we'll say all good, you are logged in. So yeah, so basically we migrated all the users from Django auth to single sign-on auth, and we are now OpenID compliant, and we can add any new clients directly to single sign-on. Term browser is one of the client, and you can see each environment of OCL QA staging is added as a separate client. Yeah. Any questions on single sign-on?
Just maybe what it's going to get us in the future, even though we haven't rolled out anything in addition to that. Could you say a little bit about like what that enables?
Right. So two things in future, near future. First is we will be able to collaborate all the clients into a single user set. So if you have one user in authenticated with single sign-on, you should be able to access all the applications of OCL, be it term browser QA, term browser staging, term browser production, and we should be able to control who can access what. Second is roles and permissions will have a better visibility for let's say a system admin of OCL, where they can just go and assign different privileges across different environments. Single sign-on provides or Keycloak provides us a ready-to-use UI, which you don't have to build inside OCL. The last thing that we are discussing is the client app tokens, so that like right now your token will expire after 24 hours. But once you have app tokens, which will have longer duration and they're not associated to a specific user. So those are the things coming in future. All right. Moving on to the next thing, which is our operations panel. So we started building operations panel sometime back to focus on two specific things in the starting, and then it evolved to more. We wanted to provide a section inside the term browser where you can perform specific operations which could be either not part of the term browser's general flow, or they are or you want to perform some sort of operations to different OCL servers or Fire servers. So operations panel sort of bridges that gap. So let's say you are at some concept, and you can access operations panel from here, from the actions menu, and you will see the context already is filled for you. The base URL is the local server that I'm at, the code system, version, and code, and the operations that I have right now. Since it's an OCL server, there is only cascade operation, but I can switch to different OCL servers, like staging, demo. But if I switch to, let's say, Fire QA, and say these are the operations now available for me, lookup, validate code. So if I use lookup and click execute, I'll see some response, and I can also open it in a different tab just to see the API signatures and different headers if you wish to, or I can copy the result. Similarly, I can perform different operations. So we keep on adding operations as in when Fire service or OCL core services are adding them. It still doesn't list all of them, like expand operation or resolve reference operation. Those are next in line, and the new checksum operation as well. Yeah, so, and you have an option to also enter the canonical URL if you like. This resource or this code system had a canonical URL assigned already, but if there isn't any, or if you want to perform some other one, you can just type in and system URL as well with the system version, or a specific code that you want to test out. Those all features are available through operations panel. You can also use some external Fire services like Happy Fire or PEPFAR's test Fire service. ICD-11 is also part of this. And within the same term browser instance, you can access all the other OCL core servers as well. So if I want to use production for this SEAL concept and Cascade, I have these options to, these are advanced settings option that Joe was also showing in the clone operation. If you want to include, if you want to include retired codes, or if you want to cascade in the backward direction, do you want to cascade through all the levels? Different combinations you can provide, and you can hit just execute, and it will give you the result of the cascade. And yeah, so if I hit hierarchical, I can also have an option to visualize the same result. Like in this case, it's just one. But if I choose a better concept, I will be able to see the entire tree. So yeah, next things for operations panel are making it more visible. Currently, it's sort of hidden and only for admin users since it's in beta, but we can assign this for other users as well. An OCL admin can provide this feature to other users, but we want to make it more visible as and when it gets more mature and more stable. Also, we definitely want to add more operations in this, like resolve reference, checksum, and expand operations, and there might be more. And we also added a quick way to access this. If you don't want to go through this actions and operations, you can just press Control O from your keyboard and it should open. And similarly, if you press Control O again, it will just hide. So that's also a quick shortcut to access it. Any questions or feedbacks on operations panel or in general?
Sunny, the first time I've heard about reverse cascade is that actually, if I pick a concept that's an answer or in a set member, it will bring all of the sets or questions.
Correct. So, for example, this concept BA3 variant has a reverse mapping. So, assuming this is an answer to this question. So, if I hit cascade and do backward, it should give me the question sets throughout.
But not the other members of that question or the.
No.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's more of a siblings thing. I don't think we've worked out the siblings piece of a hierarchy, quote unquote hierarchy.
Yeah.
Of course, it's
Yeah,
not.
no, this is I hadn't seen that before.
All right. Then that's all. Yeah, I think one more quick thing I wanted to show. So just picking up where Joe left off the summary part, I just wanted to add a few more things in summary. So this summary is sort of telling you two main information. One is the direct summary of the repository, which is how many concepts you have in this version, out of which how many are retired, same for mappings and the versions, and different distribution across different attributes of concepts and mappings like concept classes, data types, map types, languages. Also, this second part of the summary is what is mapped to this this repository. So you can expand this and you can see SNOMED CT is has 51,000 concepts and they are distributed in different map types. And you can also click on these and see the result here, which is pretty similar to what you would do while looking at concepts or mappings. And these filters are applied, like SNOMED CT is the source, and the map type was associated with. And you can see all the concepts that are there within the SEAL repository or SEAL version. Similarly, we also added a quick summary for collections. It is not as mature as source summary. It only tells you different type of references that you have. Like for example, in this one, you have 8 references. 5 of them are inclusion references and 3 of them are exclusion references, which you can also see in here that 3 are exclusion references and 5 are inclusion. Also, you can see different distributions similar to a source summary, and you can also click on this and see the results here. Yeah, that's all I wanted to showcase. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Sunny. Really great stuff. Yeah, thank you for continuing the summary panel discussion there. So, okay, I will share my screen again just to show a few visuals that we have up here. We've gone through showcases, we've gone through some features in the term browser. I just wanted to give some updates and some other sections that we've been working on lately. So I wanted to show a quick summary of our GitHub tickets, just that we've been doing a lot of work, especially in our tools lately. And this is what we track the most in GitHub, although we do have work in our services and community. We don't track it quite as well in GitHub. But in particular, we've been focusing on a few areas. OpenMRS functionality is getting dynamic collections going. Of course, getting Fire going has been a huge accomplishment. We've definitely spent some time making sure performance in OCL's tools are good, that we are troubleshooting bugs as they come up, and we appreciate the community members who bring those up to us, making sure that the UI has some good quality of life, while, of course, we're working on a broader user interface work. So just wanted to show we've got over 80 tickets completed in total, represents over 350 points. This might be a little nebulous, but it is a lot of work. So just want to give a shout out to Sunny and Rapal and the rest of the team for all the great work this quarter. With that, I wanted to go through some updates in our services. This one actually will be pretty quick because it is mostly CL. CL is main terminology that we've been publishing. We've been doing monthly releases, and CL continues to grow, continues to get more concepts and mappings each time. I think people have been very, very satisfied with it, and the release process is going smoother and smoother over time. So, okay, I think this one's actually my favorite because we get to go through some highlights in the community of some cool things that we've done lately. One in particular, and I think actually many of you have seen this, is the OCL community roadmap. This is out there. These are, of course, aspirational goals, but they are open-ended and collaborative goals where we're looking for champions, and we're trying to articulate, all the cool stuff we would like to do, all the cool stuff that is coming up in the OCL world, whether it be, things we talked about today, like our Fire core, or maybe things that we haven't talked as much about, like collaboration within the term browser, whether it's within a team or with a subject matter expert. So we've got, some of these have champions, some of them are seeking champions. So if there's anything in this roadmap, we always encourage that you come take a look and reach out to us to say, hey, I might be able to contribute some requirements, or I know someone who can work on development of this, whatever it might be. Also wanted to give a quick announcement that OCL Chat, our discourse platform, is going to be launching at OHI 23 at the end of this month. Essentially, this is going to be a place for OCL-centric discussions to take place, whether it is about events that are going on, whether it is how do I use this, how do I get started with it, what is this feature intended to do. I know that we have Slack channels, but you can't Google and find Slack discussions. So having a chat forum specifically for that will be helpful. Also wanted to mention very good milestone, which is the dictionary manager for OpenMRS has been retired. There was a post about this that our community member Saruchi posted, and we also put together a getting started guide for OpenMRS users in OCL. Essentially, the user interface that you might be used to seeing here has now transitioned over to the term browser, and you will get actually redirected if you try to go back to this OpenMRS. But we just want to say this is an absolute success. The fact that we are, working on one user interface instead of two is a great success here, and we want to thank the OpenMRS community members who have done such a great job at helping the term browser get to where it's at and continue to develop. We also did
wanted to say,
yeah,
well, Saruchi is on the call too, and just wanted to take the chance again to say thanks to Saruchi for being such a great champion of the dictionary manager for so long now and helping get to this point. So I think big shout out to Saruchi.
Yeah, 100%. Great shout out to Saruchi and the rest of the team. We couldn't have done this without you. This has been an amazing journey. So, okay. Another first for OCL, we actually had our first OCL-centric workshop, and we did this with the Nigeria and Kenya medical record system teams. They are, while they have OpenMRS implementations, they are actually working on getting national health data dictionaries together, and they wanted to get to know OCL and concept management better. So we actually all came together, made ourselves a little bit of a playground, and played with some mapping to reference terminologies. We practiced version management. We made new concepts, etc. It was a great team and a great time in Mombasa, Kenya. And I really appreciate the welcome that we got and the experience that this means for the OCL team. Partially as a follow-up to that, we are defining and building out national health data dictionaries as a community. And I won't go through this too much, but just as a kind of an academic practice where we are trying to work on the transition from reference code sets down to something that is more at the implementable level, whether that's at a country level or even an organization facility level. We're trying to make sure these national health data dictionaries can help with the easing best practices and sharing data and metadata. I also wanted to pull up our YouTube just to show that we are putting out new learning materials, actually even more continuously than before. We just last week actually published a very quick video about making intentional value sets. If you are wanting to learn more about dynamic and intentional value sets, I recommend looking there. Also check out our playlist where we go through some basics of the API, of collection management, get some tips and tricks in there. And things that we're doing out in the community. So check out our YouTube page. It is constantly being updated and a lot of fun stuff there. Also wanted to give a very brief update into the object-oriented UX work. Essentially, we are working to update OCL's user interface using a information architecture and having a design system at our disposal. The way that we are doing this is through object-oriented UX. And I actually just wanted to show a little bit of the Miro board that we've been looking at, where Paul Adams mentioned before he couldn't make it today, but we are going through an object discovery, relationship discovery. We're going through this ORCA method to identify the objects that people interact with OCL, what are their relationships, what are the actions that come with that, and what are the key attributes that come with that. So after quite a few workshops, you can see definitely a lot of sticky notes in here, a lot of different objects, a lot of different call to actions that we are working with. This is still a work in progress, but trying to put together a user interface that is more meaningful to the average OCL user. I think there's a lot of things we can do in the term browser right now, which is great, but sometimes we want to be guided through it a little bit more. So this object-oriented UX work actually should help to simplify our user interface and make it a lot more meaningful for people. Just wanted to say, if you would like to get involved, there's actually many of you on this call that we've spoken to about this, but Paul at sonderdesign.org, if this is something that you would like to be involved, if you have opinions or if you would like to, test the prototype or whatever it might be, Paul loves working with the users. We all do, but Paul especially loves working with people who have these kind of thoughts. So please feel free to drop him a message. Only other thing I wanted to bring up before I hand it over to John is a blog that we have about terminology management getting smarter. Our Smart Dictionary initiative is one of our initiatives for this year, and we're continuing to try to build this out this quarter. Just a couple of key takeaways about what Smart Dictionary is about is putting together guided workflows that help people complete their common terminology tasks, whether that's creating mappings or dynamic references or whatever advanced functionalities. We want to help guide people through those so it's not so nebulous about how does this matter to me. Also, working with Fire in the term browser, this can be very, very seamless. We want to help with that. And essentially just helping people with best practices. You don't have to be a terminology expert to leverage these best practices. And so we want to make sure that's easy to do in the term browser. John, if you would put the link to this in the chat, please, in case people would like to learn more about this. We also have a design session next Thursday. It's at in this hour. So if you would like to join us, talk about the Smart Dictionary Initiative, share your voice, please join us then. And John, I think I will throw it back to you for upcoming priorities. And let me know if you want me to advance the slide or if you want to take it from here.
Yeah, I guess I can take over the sharing right now.
Awesome.
So, well, we've covered a ton, and I guess maybe while I'm getting this ready to share, are there any questions or comments on everything that the team has shared so far?
It's a lot of work. Great job, guys.
Okay. I just am sorry to put people on the spot. I just see that there are a lot of people from like Laura and your team from MSF. Did you have any questions or comments on this? And it's been a useful kind of walkthrough.
Yeah, thank you all for the presentation. It was great. I will let my colleagues answer because I feel like since I'm following weekly, I already had a lot of information, but I hope it was helpful for the team.
Yes, thanks a lot for this demo. It was super informative, and I'm happy to see how much progress has been made on OCL to date.
Great. Well, good. I'm hoping that it's useful. So just one final thing then to show is Joe already showed the roadmap. We only have a couple minutes, so we won't go into details. But there are lots of plans for where do we go from here, and most of those are going to be captured here. We've got one major update to do to this Joe showed at the level of the goals. But if you click on any one of these, you could see what's next. And so we published this draft, and this is entirely based on what we've heard from many of you on this call and the broader community. And but the activity level, since we put this out here in February, we're going to refresh these based on progress that's been made and kind of new things that have kind of come up from different projects. So we'll update the community as soon as we've added these other activities, but it already is in a good form to say, like what's happening with the term browser design system that Joe just showed, and this will give you a rough idea of where things are going. And I think we can look at OpenMRS dictionary management, and some of these are already done, like arrangement of mappings and sources and resource cloning, so we'll update that. But this also kind of points to what have we heard from the OpenMRS community as to some of the upcoming priorities. I think just to reiterate what Joe said about champions, that we are a volunteer-based community, and if you're interested in providing some contributions in one of these categories, or kind of stepping up and helping to facilitate the progress of the community towards achieving one of these goals, we would love to kind of see that happen and add your name in here, and you could be a point of contact for the community to help move one of these forward. So I think that might be it. But I guess thank you all so much for your time and for joining this. I hope this has been useful. And are there any final questions or comments before we wrap up? Or Joe, it looks like you had one more thing to add.
Yeah, let me share my screen just one last time. I wanted to share a little bit of a limerick that we got from ChatGPT. We got from out of ChatGPT thanks to our just putting in our about page. In 23, OCL shall rise. With healthcare terms, we'll standardize. Inclusive will grow, terminology so, a platform where all can harmonize. So ChatGPT believes in us, and I think that is enough inspiration to get us through this whole next quarter.
Love that. Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.